And here I am. So there's that. Okay, so it works with this. And you can see the text underneath. So if we get rid of that, you get to see the cat. This is Jelly. Oh, she likes to purr. Yeah, this is just another silly test. All right, let's put you down here in my lap. Okay, you can let go of my shirt. There. Good cat. Chill out. Alrighty, so waiting to see. Yes, Brian, you hear a cat. That's Jelly. She's a little sweetie. How you doing tonight, Brian? I don't know if anybody else is going to be on. Still haven't figured out a way to monitor audio live while I'm recording. You know, like I said last time, I can, if I turn on the browser that this is streaming to, I can hear it then, but then it's like a 10-second delay or so, and that doesn't help me at all. So I've done a couple things. I've contacted Rogue Amoeba and been asking them how I can somehow manage to get the audio from the stream, you know, direct from the stream as it's going out. And I haven't really heard anything back yet. But if anyone can figure it out, those guys can. It's been all over the OBS forums from people asking for this. And they keep saying it's coming, but so far, no joy. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Yeah, the car situation, that was not fun. For those who don't follow me on the regular Facebooks, I currently have a Ford Flex. It's an 09 Ford Flex that I bought new. And in 2009, when I bought it, my kids were much smaller. And it's a great family car. You know, it's this big, if you've ever seen like Vacation, this is like the family truckster that was in Vacation. I mean, it's a really big car. But my older son is now out of college. So, and he's living up in Boston. And my younger son is maybe an hour away at the college that he's chosen. But neither one of them are at home anymore. So I don't really need a car that big anymore. So I've been trying a bunch of different cars. And, you know, I do love cars. And, you know, sure, I would love to have a Challenger or a Camaro or a Mustang or, you know, some sporty little thing. But oddly enough, except for when I was like a teenager in Florida, that's, you know, that kind of car has never really appealed to me. So basically what I was looking for was something that would give me some of the versatility of the Flex as far as having some space in the back. So I didn't want a sedan. I was looking at the Honda Element, which they don't make anymore. The Scion XB, which is another boxy car, and Toyota pretty much just canceled the whole Scion line. And the one of the other ones I was looking at, but I wasn't sure if I was going to fit because I'm a kind of a big guy. I'm like 6'6", and in the let's be kind and say the 280-pound range. So maybe a scotch more. But yeah, I am kind of big. So I didn't think I was going to fit in a Kia Soul. So I'd gone down to a local dealership, and they had a 2015, and I don't know who bought this car originally, but it had like less than 6,500 miles on it. I mean, it was super low mileage, and the price for it was very reasonable. You know, even including all the bullshit that dealers like to throw in just to get that little. I mean, it's a game. That they advertise a price for the car, and in this case, it was about 14,000. And then when you get down there and you start talking to them, there's like, oh well, there's dealer prep, so that's anywhere from $200 to $500. And this particular Kia dealership, I'm not going to say who they are, also had this thing, and I've come to find out that it's pretty much bullshit. They say that in order to get the 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty that Kia offers, that the dealer has to recertify it. Now, this is what they say. I don't know if it's necessarily true, but a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing now has been kind of telling me that it's kind of crap. But that was like almost another $1,000. And by the time everything was said and done, taxes and tags, it was about 16.5, which, I mean, even at that price for a car that was in as good a shape as this one is, that's not a bad price. So that was Saturday. So I get this in writing. Now, nobody signed anything. So there's, I've got it. I got the offer in writing, but the dealer hasn't signed it and I haven't signed it. There's no deposit that's been put down on the car. And I tell them I'm going to let them know the next day, which was yesterday, Sunday. And once I got home and I started to think about it, it was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and get this car. So I got up the next day and did some money transfer to pay for the car, went grocery shopping. And while I was at the grocery store, I got a call from the salesman. And he was like, well, are you going to come down and buy the car today? And I said, yeah, I just need to, I'm at the grocery store right now. Let me get home from that, get the groceries in, get all the stuff out of the car that, everybody gathers pounds and pounds and pounds of stuff that they put in their car over the years. Sorry, excuse me. So I did all that, and I found the car actually on this site called Car Gurus, and it's a local Kia dealership, but it's not really local to where I live. It's about 45 minutes to an hour away, depending on DC traffic. So after I do all that, I get him in the Flex and I drive down to the dealership. And I get there and I see a car that looks almost same color, same everything else, that the same salesman is showing to someone else. And when I kind of got his attention, I was like, what's the deal here? And he didn't really say anything, but the sales manager came over and said, well, these people showed up, and because there's nothing in writing, if they make an offer on the car, we have to sell it to them. And I was kind of like, what does it take to just tell them, this car isn't currently available, that, somebody has made an offer on it, and at least give me a chance, call me. He already had my telephone number. You could have called and said, somebody else is here and they're thinking about the car. Are you sure you're going to buy it for the deal that we agreed on? And it would have been, yeah, sure. Show them another car because I'm going to buy this car. But they didn't do that. So they allowed the other people to take it out for a test drive, and they came back and they went into the office and they started their haggling. And I wasn't in the office while all this was going on, but I'm reasonably sure that, they were kind of using me and saying, well, look, if you don't buy this car for the price that we want to sell it to you, that guy out there, he's already said that he's going to buy it. And I ended up being out there for like 2 hours waiting for all this to get done. And sure enough, the other people bought the car. And then, when they came over and said that they had bought the car, they actually had the gall to say, well, we've got these other ones here. And, one's a 2013 and it was cream colored, which whatever. And then they had 2 red ones, which I don't want because my own personal preference, I don't like red cars. But by the time that all this had taken place, I was kind of like, you know what? Yeah, no, I'm not interested in the cream colored 2013, even though it was also low miles and it wasn't that much different from the 2015. And they claim that it has all the same interior space, but I don't think it really did. I think the 2015 was a little bit bigger inside. It certainly felt a little more comfortable, but that also could have been because I was just so pissed off at the events as they'd happened over the day. So I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm just gonna go. So I left, and that same salesman's been calling me like two or three times all day, trying to talk me into this 2013 or one of the red ones that they had. And the last time he called, he was like, "Oh well, we have a 2017, brand new car that will only be and it, it would have ended up being about $4,000 more, which was completely beyond the point of what I was trying to do, which was get rid of the flex. I was going to trade the flex in and uh, pay cash for the remainder for this Kia Soul. And so I would have had it, I basically would have gone from this big car that was paid off, trade that in, get this smaller car, pay it off, and not have any payments. I mean, that was the whole point. It's not like I couldn't go out and get whatever freaking new car that I wanted. Um, that wasn't the point. I just didn't want to incur this big, huge debt. And that was what, and with the last call, that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to say, well, we can put you in a car that's just like it and it's brand new and no one's owned it. It's like, I don't care. I've almost always bought, other than, let me see, in my lifetime, I've had two new cars. I had um, I don't know if anyone will remember this car. I had a 1987 Chevy Beretta GT, which wasn't really a sports car. It was more like a sporty car. And then the only other new car that I've had was this Ford Flex. And I don't have a big hang up on having a new car. I don't care if someone has owned the car before me if I can get a good deal on it and it's a reliable car. So that's where I stand now, and I'm just so disgusted with the whole process that I don't think I'm going to end up, unless something like really major happens. I probably just won't buy another car for right now. And yeah, I see David talking about CarMax, and yeah, I mean, I haven't actually been to a CarMax lot. I have looked at a lot of their ads, and their prices are a little bit higher than the other dealers. But you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they cut out all the bullshit, the add-ons and all the extras that the dealers make so much profit on, and they pretty much say, okay, instead of giving you this low ball price and then having all this other stuff tacked on, this is the price of the car. We're making money on the car because no business can stay in business without making a profit. And they just kind of cut out all the rest of that nonsense. So if there, yeah, no haggle price, that may be the way I go. Unfortunately, the there's one, two, three, four CarMax lots near me, but the one that's closest to me, they've got one Soul and one Scion XB. And what I really should do is just go down there, have them evaluate my flex. And, I'm not looking to get a lot out of it. If I can get like $6,500 for the flex, that's fine. It's not in the best of shape. It's got 110,000 miles. So I'm not expecting to get my money back. Cars aren't an investment unless you're going to go like with real classic cars, that kind of thing. These are just regular cars that regular people drive. So anyway, What else is going on? Up, Dave remembers the Beretta. I really, really did like that car, and the only reason why I got rid of it was I'd gotten married, and Tracy was pregnant with our first son, and I was so excited about becoming a father and all the rest of that. It's like, well, what is it that dads have to do? Dads have to get rid of their sports cars, and they have to get a minivan. So that's what I ended up doing. I got rid of the Beretta, um, and I got a Chrysler minivan that got stolen, and it was never the same after. I mean, we got it back, but it was never the same after that, and ended up getting rid of it, and then got another minivan, and then I had an SUV, and then I had the Flex. And but it's just, I was always the one that drove the family car. My wife, when my wife was looking at cars, the only criteria that I gave her was, whatever kind of car it was, it had to have at least four doors, and it had to be at least big enough that I could fit behind the wheel and drive it in case anything happened to the family car. So, she had a 200SX, Nissan 200SX, that once our second son was born, because that was a two-door car, she traded that in, and she got I think it was a 95 Nissan Maxima. So that was like our backup family car. And she had that for a really, really long time. But, I mean, we just don't need cars like that anymore. So, I was looking at downsize, but still have a little bit of room that the boxy kinds of shapes give you. What else? Who else is listening besides Dave? Dave is making all the comments. Maxima is a good sized car. Even in '95, that was a good sized car. The new ones are really big, and the one that's like just as big as it now, or as the Maxima was then, is the Altima. The new Altimas are essentially like the same size as what the Maxima was in '95. And when we were at Macstock last year, Dave, I had my rental while I was there was a Nissan Altima, and it was very comfortable. But I don't want a sedan. I don't mind having the four doors, but I really don't want a sedan. So that's kind of why I'm looking the way that I am. If I need to take the lawnmower, or if there's some slightly bigger piece of whatever that, excuse me, that I need to move from point A to point B, um, having that boxy shape like you get in the XB, or the Soul, or the Element, or some of the other cars like that, it gives you that versatility that you won't get in a sedan. So that's why I was thinking along those lines. Now, I do have to admit this. One of the cars, when I first started thinking about this, and it was right around the time that Peter went away to college, I started giving this some serious thought, was a Nissan Altima coupe, the two door. But Nissan's, I think they stopped making those in 2013, or they stopped offering them here in the States. But that's a really good looking, kind of fun car. And you can get it with either a 2.5 liter or a 3.5 liter. And again, I'm not really looking for a sports car, but yeah, I could have found myself in one of those really, really easily. Um, Hey Jeff, volume is a bit low. Is it better if I talk a lot closer? Is that better? Actually, I can. I think I can. Can I just don't step, kitty? Go away. I can. I can turn this up a little bit. That should be better. On podcasts, you're not really technically supposed to be at negative 6 dB. It it's a matter of what sounds best to you. I mean, I've got a good mic. I got a Heil PR40, and I've got that going through a Art Studio V3 preamp, which is in turn going through a Behringer 1204 Xenix USB mixer, which again, the mic is good. The preamp is, it's decent, and it does what I wanted it to do, which was to make it so that I didn't have to rely on, and that's a tube preamp, but it made it so I didn't have to rely on the electronic preamps that were in the Behringer, because I think I was, I just don't think it sounded as good. And so now with the Behringer, I've got like no gain on at all on the Behringer mixer. The gain is turned all the way down. All the gain input and output is done through the Art preamp. And I think this sounds much better than when I was having to really, really crank the gain on the Behringer. Oh, and there's Robert Hazelrig. How are you? Makes me sound like Barry White. Hello, baby. How you doing? I don't know any lyrics to Barry White songs, unfortunately. But it has taken me, here I am going from, and I only did this tonight because, and this isn't like an official Mac to the Future Go podcast. This is just me trying some shit out. You guys saw the Simpsons movie, right? Went from just testing this out, and you guys came on, and then I talked about my stupid car experience over the weekend. Now I'm talking about my, oh yeah, let's get it on. I can't sing. Don't ask me to sing. But yeah, I love talking about my gear. It has taken me a really, really long time to get the sound that I want. And there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, good sound equipment is not cheap. So like the microphone, this is like a $350 microphone, which isn't, like super top of the line, but it's a good microphone. The mixer it's like, a mid-range USB type mixer. It's fine. The preamp is okay, but it was just the culmination of getting all of the pieces together and getting them all to work properly. And every time you add a new piece in, it takes, I don't know about other people, but it takes me a little while to kind of integrate it in and make it so it sounds, to me, it sounds good. And my test on, because these are decent headphones. These are Audio Technica MTH50X headphones, but because they're completely over the ears and they isolate me from all other sound that's around, the real test for me for audio, oddly enough, is after I record the podcast and mix it down and turn it into an MP3 file before I hand it over to Tim. I put it in a Dropbox, my Dropbox account, and then I'll go for a drive in my car and download it from my Dropbox account on my iPhone and listen to it in the car, because that's really where most people are going to hear it. Podcasts is going to be while they're driving to work or on vacation, or, it's not like people come home from work and say, I think I'm going to listen to a podcast. And then they sit down on their couch and pull up some audio files. Most people just don't do that. Podcasts are like the radio of yesterday. You're pretty much listening to them while you're on the go. And, a lot of times it's just background noise, but that's fine. I don't mind doing that. And I have a good time with it. Recording with Gaz, of finding Gaz as a podcasting partner was really such a stroke of luck. I've recorded with a lot of different people. I'll always be grateful to Tim for giving me my start and, putting up with the complete amateur hour of what I used to do when I started doing segments on the MyMac podcast, and then inviting me in later on to be a co-host, and eventually turning the show over to me. And, I mean, you don't get a lot of chances like that in life. Most people have to start something like this from scratch. And Tim had painstakingly over the years, built the website, and then built the podcast, and then they just turned it over to me. So I am very, very grateful for everything that Tim has done. I mean, he hosts the show, he uploads the show, he takes care of any of the, I do all the post-production editing as far as the audio goes, but if there's any problems with the RSS feed or anything along those lines, he takes care of all that stuff. So I don't even have to worry about it. This show is different. Number one, it's got video, so that adds a whole nother level of complexity. And one of these days, I will figure out how to make OBS, open broadcasting software, or source, or whatever they call it, to work so that I can monitor everything that's going out into the stream in real time, because I'm about 10 seconds behind you guys, or 10 seconds ahead of you guys. Now I can hear myself, and in a lot of ways it's a little bit distracting, because it is probably maybe like a quarter of a second off from the time that I speak to the time I hear it in my headphones, which can be a little distracting. And a couple of years ago, if I tried to do this, I would be talking like this, because it's real. I'm not making fun of anybody, but if you're hearing your own voice back and there's a slight delay, that can really mess up your mind, because you're expecting to hear it right away. And when you don't, and then you do hear it, it can kind of throw off your timing. And so you sound drunk. Let's see. I need my glasses. Damn it. Sucks getting old. Let's see. It's fun. Glad you're here. Thank you, David. It is fun. I have a good time with this. Dave, if you want, I've done this for a couple of different people. You can go ahead and contact me, and we can talk about what you can use. I mean, you don't need a high-old PR40 to do a podcast. You don't need a 4-input XLR mixer and a preamp and all the rest of this. I actually spent some time setting up some stuff for my son Peter, who's just started doing a podcast, and it's not live on iTunes yet, so I'm not going to bother to tell you what it is. But he didn't really have a microphone. He was using the microphone that was built into his Mac, and the other two people that he was doing it with, they were also doing it over Skype. They had much better equipment, and it was blatantly obvious when he was speaking versus when they were speaking. So I was like, okay, we can do something about this. So I got him a decent mic, this Art V3 preamp, which is, all things considered, pretty inexpensive. And because it's mostly just going to be himself there at his apartment, he didn't need, not that I needed it either, a 4-input mixer. So I got him a small Behringer, I think it's the 802 USB mixer, which isn't bad. So that's what I got for him. And probably Sunday I'll go down and help him set that up. Okay, what else we got going on? M50X. Yeah, and they do sound good, Jeff. These headphones do sound good. Bose QC35. Are those headphones, Dave? Of course, you won't be able to answer me for another 10 to 15 seconds. That's how this works. And Dave, when you say you're on the ground floor, are you talking about trying to get a podcast going? Is that what you mean by that? drives me crazy with the delay. Yeah, are you talking about live streaming or something else? Podcast still in the works. Oh, you're going to do one with the Mac Mommy? That's cool. Yeah, I like Melissa. She is such a trip. Um, I've hadn't met her, but had talked to her on a number of occasions over the years, and I think the first time we actually met was at Pat. I always get her last name mixed up. Far Farquay Faircut, something like that, and she lives in the same area as I do. And Melissa and her husband and her two boys, who were very little at the time, had driven out from Arizona. So that was like the first time I met. Actually, that was the first time I met Kevin Alder too, because he was there as well. Let's see, podcast. Do you know what the podcast is going to be about, Dave? And don't do don't do Bluetooth as far as headphones go. Bluetooth headphones already has some delay built in, and that will make you crazy. So you really don't want to do that. So what is the podcast going to be about? Do you know? In touch with here you got it right there. In touch with iOS. So it's going to be iOS centric. All right, that's cool. Yeah, I'm perfectly willing to come on as a guest anytime you guys want me. I use a lot of iOS in what I do. I actually have a whole mobile rig, recording with an iPad, and I've got a couple of different things that I use. I can use. I have what is it? Alesis Multimix 4 USB mixer that's part of my like travel kit. And then I also have this thing from IK Multimedia called the iRig Duo, which has two XLR inputs and separate gain controls for each one of those. And it's a cool little gear. And then I usually use damn it, the phone is ringing. Why are people calling me? It's almost 9:00. Stop calling me. You can it's got various adapters, so you can output via USB, you can output via mini USB or micro USB, and you can also output via Lightning. So I just connect that right into the iPad, and it's a little thing. It's like about this big. I don't have my travel kit down here. I'd show you what it looks like. But I take that and I plug that into power, and then at the same time that because you can also power it with batteries. But the device itself, if you power it from a wall socket or a wall plug, you can it'll also keep your iPad charged at the same time if you have it connected via Lightning. And then the microphones of choice in my travel kit are two Audio Technica 2100 XLR USB mics, it's a really, really good mic. If you listen to my Mac podcast, I think it's 614 and 615. I think we did a 614.5. Those were all recorded on the mobile rig using Boss Jock for iOS. So, it can easily be done. And then there's all different kinds of things that you can do to for post-production and things along those lines. So I looked at that kind of mobile podcasting the same way I look at this, where you're doing it live and what it is what it is. You're not going to go back and edit out some of the stupid things you may have said, or if you you breathe too hard at one point, or sneezed or coughed, or any of that stuff. Which honestly, I don't really do on the My Mac podcast either. Let's see. Presonus audio box, good interface, two inputs. I'm not sure which one that is, Jeff. Website is up. Just working on making time for it. Yeah. I actually have, and I need to make like a banner here that will have like some links to various things. There is a Mttfgo website. It's Mttfgo.com. And I mean, there's not a whole lot there right now. It's got a link to the podcast I did last week. I'll probably put a link to this one as well once I get it up over on Facebook, because that's basically what I'm doing. Is I'm doing this one here on Facebook, but the software that I use, OBS, also records it at the same time. So when I'm done here, I can take the recording that OBS made and upload that to YouTube, and then just embed that onto the website and be done with it. I could also take one of the other things I may do is turn this also into an audio podcast, not necessarily this one in particular, but the Mttfgo into an audio podcast and upload that as well, and make it available as an audio podcast. But we'll see. I mean, I've got lots of grandiose plans, and don't always have the time to take care of it. Though fortunately, now that the kids are grown and gone, I have a lot more time than I used to. So it's just a matter of prioritizing, I guess. But there are a couple of things that I still need to figure out. There's some, like I've got this. Let me bring it up. You can see that the lower third little scroll there. I need to make up some other things like that. I need to make up an ending one. I also want to set up a pages document that I can have a moderator that can be looking at the chat, because it's trying to do all this by yourself is very, very distracting. And you don't want to just sit there like this all the time where you're looking at another monitor. Oh, okay, I'm looking at the chat and I'm talking to you, blah, blah, blah. Because you need to make eye contact. You need to be looking at the camera that's actually recording you as much as you can. So if I had a pages document that was on the same monitor that I'm looking at here, that would help. So, I mean, we'll see. So I got to find people that'll moderate. I'm hoping some of the admins for the Mttfgo Facebook page will be able to help me out with that. But we'll see. So, God, how long have I been going here? Almost 38 minutes on the dot. So, unless anybody has any other questions or anything else they want me to talk about, I think I'm going to end this for the evening. And I'm going to do it again on Wednesday night. There is a post that I did over on the Mttfgo page asking for topics, and that would be a really big help. Give me something to talk about other than, I didn't get the car I wanted, beep, 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 beep. Or, whatever. So, yeah, I'm looking for topics to talk about on the show. And hopefully, eventually, I'll be able to take calls, things like that, and have a little more interaction with some of the people that may want to watch this, other than just looking at their chats over here on this other screen. So with that being said, let's see. Thanks. It's been fun. Thank you, Dave. I think I'm going to end this for the night, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Don't forget, check out the website, Mttfgo, Mttfgo.com. Check out the Facebook post that I did looking for topics and other things along those lines that I can do here on the show. And we'll see you soon.